All right. Today's video we're going to look at the 4 types of internal forces. And just before we start, I want to remind everyone about your power task. So make sure you're paying full attention. Make sure before you keep watching that you're organized. Watch the video carefully. Stay engaged throughout it. And when you're done, rewind it and rewatch it if you need to. And while you're going, don't forget to take your notes. When you finish, I want you to write your 2 to 3 sentence summary and prepare a question that you can bring with you to next class. As a refresher from our last couple of classes, remember, a force is a push or a pull. So we can see here, the one guy pulling, the other one pushing against this block. And all forces have a magnitude, that's the size or how big the force is, and a direction. In this case, both these guys are pulling in one direction. So forces can be internal or they can be external. An example of an external force is the wind pushing against this windmill. It causes the windmill to start spinning, but it's a force that's outside of the windmill itself. An internal force, an example is on this bridge, where you've got the weight of all the bricks pushing down on the ones below it. The force is internal to the structure. It's part of the structure itself. Okay, so here are the 4 types of forces. The first one is tension, and it happens when you've got an object being pulled on both sides in opposite directions. The second force is compression, and this happens when an object is being pushed from both sides, from opposite sides, and being squished together. The next one is called a shear force, and happens when you have forces working in opposite directions, coming together, pushing together. And the final one is torsion, and this happens when you have a twist, when an object is being twisted. Tension. Tension is when you're pulling on either end of an object. A good example of that is on this tug of war. There's tension on the string because the 2 gentlemen are pulling on one side and the 2 are pulling on the other side. And we see tension all the time. When you pull an elastic band back, that stretching is the elastic being put under tension. Same thing happens if you're on a trampoline or the electrical power lines that we see stretched out between power poles. There's also tension when you're skipping rope. Compression is forces squeezing an object together. So in this case, we're squeezing from either ends, pushing down on it. If you look at your shoes, we compress the heel all the time with the force of our body pushing down and the ground pushing back up into the sole, squishing that sole back together. We also see compression on your bed. When you lay down, you compress the coils on your bed. When you kick a soccer ball, the ball will squish a little bit before it shoots off your foot. Shear forces. Shear forces happen when you have a force being applied to the opposite sides of an object. We do this all the time with scissors. The scissors come together on opposite sides and cut an object in half. This is also when you're tearing paper in half. You pull in opposite directions. In this case, on the bottom, the picture, you can see these trees in a hurricane. The force of the wind is pushing in one direction, while the ground is actually holding them from sliding away in the opposite direction. Now, if the wind is strong enough, this will actually cause it to snap in half. Finally, let's look at torsion. Now, torsion is a twisting motion. It's any time that an object is being twisted. You can see Chris Hadfield on the bottom here, our favorite Canadian astronaut, and he's twisting this cloth, trying to wring it out. Now, normally the water would drop out, but he's doing it in space where there's no gravity, so the water actually is sticking together because of surface tension and not dropping. We also see torsion when we're turning a doorknob or when a skater jumps and does a spin in the air. All of these are being twisted in a circle. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, And let's make sure we take good notes and that we write our summary and bring a question prepared for class.